Alright, so hello Jammers. I am FoxLove24 or just Fox, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my own personal tips and tricks to make a cute and inviting den, no matter the circumstances or role play you may want to use it for. This is not the first ever video I've filmed on Animal Jam. However, it is the first one that I'm going to post. I realized that I began with a really complex royalty roleplay in the Sky Kingdom, which is basically the largest den in Animal Jam, and I thought I should start with something a little bit more basic. As you can see, I have a very complex collector's den. I've heard it called cluttered, but I like to think of it as organized chaos, and you'll notice that I have placed every item really carefully. But don't worry, I'm not going to be focusing on dens that look only like this. In fact, today it's going to be very, very simple. For the purpose of sharing what I think the basics to creating any nice, fun den are, I'm just going to be using one of the small house dens. So I'm just going to be going to one of my many, as you'll see in just a moment here, I have a lot of dens, but I'm going to be going to one of my small house dens, and I'm going to just choose one that I feel okay about deleting all my items from.
You know what, actually, I do really like this den as it. I'm not going to clear this one either. Boy, man, maybe I should make some fun little examples of how to do stuff like this. But no, not today.
Alright, so I guess not. It looks like I'm going to have to buy one, which is a little bit unfortunate. Usually you'll have one of these, and if you don't feel like buying one, you can always clear it out using that broom at the top of the screen. But today I'm just going to be buying this one just, as an example. And I really wanted to make a completely basic den today, so I'm pretty much going to be choosing simpler, for the most part, if not fully non-member items that maybe you would want or have, and that's totally okay. I know that I have a lot of strange, old, or irrelevant items, like for example the zany, wacky, silly items, or some items that you may not recognize, and that's just because I'm a collector, so don't feel like you have to have items like these to make a nice, inviting, homey den. So now that I have my den picked out and I actually own it, I'm going to begin picking a theme. So I think that one of the most important things for any den is a theme and or a color scheme. So for this den, I'm going to be focusing, I think, mainly on warm tones, which is like orange, red, yellow, if you've ever seen the color wheel. With some pops of green probably, because I think that any little den could use some plants. I just think it makes it that much more charming. If you don't have any of the items I have, or if you don't have some of them, for example, any den betas I may use, and if you're not familiar with den betas, I recommend that you check out Animal Jam Item Worth Wiki or Animal Jam Wiki, which has amazing lists of pretty much every den item you could ever want to learn about. But if you don't have some of the items that I use and you like the way that they fill up space, then I encourage you to check out any of the many, many shops across Animal Jam. Obviously, you know the ones in Jama Township. We also have a ton of these amazing other stores elsewhere. And remember that you can use underwater items in above ground dens. I personally find that I really like the items from Kimbara Outback. I really like this shop in Seripia Forest. I really like Epic Wonders, and I use a lot of the den items just from the regular store. However, there are some other items, and I'll take you on a little field trip here for a second. These items you may think look pretty interesting, and good news for you, they can be found not in any of these stores, but in a secret shop that is in this area. And if I just click around that little area, you'll see that I'm transported to this secret room called the Basement of Secrets. And the Basement of Secrets has this fun little shop where you can buy these 3 items. I find that these are really nice to use, and you'll see me use them in a lot of dens. I'm just going to begin editing. So like I said, I'd really like to make this into a non-member den, and I think today I'm just going to be focusing on making this into a little home. I might do a little table, I might do some chairs. I'm just going to check out real quick what tables I have. And I know that I mentioned those shops that you could see around Jama. However, there are also all of these shops in these parties that jammers host, or the parties that Animal Jam hosts. All of these parties, in particular this one, the red one with the trading, and actually I also really love the food ones. They have nice shops that you can check out to buy all sorts of fun items. So now the real fun will begin. So first I'm going to just pick out some basic furniture. I like to save my little embellishments for last because at that point I know where they'll go. And by embellishments I mean lamps, teacups, any kind of food, pies, anything like that. I like to save for last because I find that they make a really nice little elegant touch at the very end. So as you can see, I have a lot of different tables. I think today I'm just gonna go with some of the more basic tables, and if you find this den really boring, just wait. I promise in future dens I will be making very fun, very complex dens. So just hang around for those. But I think I'm just going to go with, like I said, I'm going to go with an orange and red and maybe some white scheme. So you know what, I'm just going to go with one of these. And they came out with the cabin stuff, and so if you remember, you can use any of these log cabin chairs. I am just going to go with, maybe I'll put some tiki chairs out here. Sometimes you'll find that I like to place things in little piles to deal with later. And you may not have some of these items because items like this are out of stores, but if you don't have them, that's totally fine. You can make it up with any other item that you may have or that you can buy. So let's see, I guess I don't. Okay, I thought I had some of the chairs that go with this, but I guess not, so I'm going to buy them. Alright, so to spruce up any place, I think that a bookshelf is a really good way to go. I love this rug, I love the striped couches, and I love this couch. I don't know why, I know it's super basic, but I just think it's so cute. Alright, I'm just going to buy 2 of these chairs. The one unfortunate thing about Animal Jam Classic compared to Animal Jam Play Wild is that in Animal Jam Classic, these items only have 2 directions that they can turn, this way and this way, which means that you can't really place a chair on this side of the table unless it's automatically set to face that way. So usually when I'm doing, a dinner table or something with chairs like this, I guess I'll just kind of place it like that. And you can also tell that Animal Jam has certain presets in terms of what goes in front of what. So usually I'll just kind of take it just about as far back as it'll go. Maybe I'll pretend that that chair is scooched out a little bit and that one's scooched in. Or maybe I'll move this table up a little bit like they're looking out a little window into their garden. And then from there we have our nice little dining table. And this stuff may move at some point. Alright, and now I'm going to move on to a fireplace. And this is the only fireplace that I own that is non-member. If you don't have it, not to worry. They sell it every year in, I think, December. During the Jum holidays, they have a little diamond gift bag in the diamond shop, and you can buy this for, I believe it is 1 diamond. So I'm going to use this little fireplace. I'm going to pull out, I think maybe I'll go for a couch. It is, of course, more difficult for non-members, unfortunately, to create dens that are kind of fun and exciting. If you have any of these promo items and stuff like that, these ones can be fun. However, I just think that the carrot doesn't exactly fit my theme right now, so I'm not going to be using him. Let's see what I got, though. Alright, I do have one of these couches, which I really love. I also have, let's see, I know that I have some striped couches, but I'm just hoping, okay, I was kind of hoping that it didn't have these weird colors. I make a lot of dens with pink and purple, so you'll find that I have a lot of pink and purple den items, but it's looking like my striped couches aren't really going to fit this aesthetic. So I'm just going to go backward into striped couch territory, and here we go. Okay, let's see what colors they have. Oh, I don't really like any of these particularly. I don't love this red, and I couldn't exactly tell you why, but I don't like it that much. I don't mind this orange that much. So I'm just going to go with the orange, I guess. And I know that I do have a bookshelf. If you don't have a wavy bookshelf, because those actually went out of stores a little while ago, don't worry about it. You can just use an A-frame bookshelf. Fortunately, I do have a wavy book frame, or a few, so if you have one of those, make sure that you use it. I like to pull out any books. I have a lot of book stacks, and don't be surprised if you don't really see these around very much. I've spent a lot of time collecting them. In fact, I've spent a lot of time and, rare spikes collecting them. So don't feel bad if you can't seem to get those. However, here we go. I have my little A-frame. Maybe I'll pull out a little rocking horse. I find that I like to give a place some feeling in terms of what's going on. So you'll also find that there may be some den items that are kind of fun that you find in, for example, an adventure. This item I love. I love any of Cosmo's items in particular, and you can find those in some of these adventure rewards. And if you don't know which one you want to look in, try looking it up. There are tons of lists out there, including, as I mentioned, on Animal Jam Wiki and Animal Jam Item Worth Wiki, that'll tell you what adventure rewards to expect in each adventure, hard mode and normal mode, because they are different. Alright, so I'm going to begin by placing this little greenhouse window, I think right there. I'm a little bit annoyed that this couch is not in front of it. Okay. Looks like we can do that. And maybe I'll just put this little chair here. I like to split up my house. I know that this is a very small den, and that's totally fine. I really like to split up my dens into what their little purposes are and colors. As you can see, there's a whole lot of this kind of strange orange color in this area right here. So I'm going to be moving one of these two setups. It'll probably be this table. And I'm thinking what I'm going to do is first I'm just going to set up things that I know I want to be in particular areas. I think I'm going to whip out my second wavy bookshelf. My second brown wavy bookshelf, I should say. And then I'm just going to place it adjacent so it looks like it's almost connected, just like that. And notice how I lined it up exactly so that these lines were parallel. The reason for that is because lines are things that our eyes can follow really easily. So for example, if I move this up a little bit, you can totally tell that these two things are not connected. Then I'm going to move this because I hate it when my items overlap in ways that are really annoying. I'm going to move him over a little bit, and then maybe I'll kind of pull out, maybe I'll move this one now. You see how even by changing directions, I've already kind of opened the house up and made it look a little bit less cluttered? And the reason for that is because these things both facing the same direction kind of all created this strange, really frustrating blob of orange right here. So next, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what I want going on here. I really like to fill up corner spaces with lamps. For example, here's a cafe lamp, and I don't know if the cafe den item will be coming back soon, but I think that this is a really cute little wall item that you can have above something as like a reading light or something. Then let's see what we got. Usually, if I wasn't making this non-member, I would probably put this little cattail lamp over here because I think that it's super fun. However, my goal was, oops, it's really annoying. However, my goal was to make it non-member. So even though I really like how that looks, I'm going to be removing it. First of all, I may want these candy lamps because I just think that they're kind of cute. And I may just go shopping real quick for a lamp. There we go, here's a lamp. I am not super duper loving this acorn. I don't really know why I don't love the acorn, but I'm hoping maybe there will be another non-member lamp. Alright, so it took an inordinate amount of time. However, I am just back at what I originally didn't want to do, which is this weird little acorn lamp. And it's only 50, so, you know, I'm not that upset. But I'm hoping not to just use these 6 items because I think that even though these are a nice place to start, they're really not what makes a really homey, engaging den. Although I will say I do like this lamp right here. I think it's kind of cute. Alright, so next I have this couch that I bought, and I'm kind of realizing now that maybe I don't have a place for it. If you don't have this, you may be able to just kind of place this couch right here, maybe go for the red, which I said I didn't want to do. But I do like that little chair, so I'm just going to leave this here. And then I might remove this cafe lamp just because I always like using 2 of the same type of thing if I'm going to try to create a connection. So I might try to put one little cafe lamp here, one little cafe lamp here, just to create some sort of continuity across the house. And as you can see, it's not like the candy lamps are particularly themed towards candy. They just kind of go pink and white. So, you know, that doesn't really bother me. Alright, so recently Animal Jam came out with this really adorable lemonade container, which I love. And so I'm just going to start by, you know, this is a summer home. I decided to go with this summer house instead of the autumn and the winter, mainly because I think that this summer den has a lot of greenery, and I really want to focus on how you can spruce up a nice open green plot. I see a lot of dens where people have these really nice interiors and yet they don't really know what to do with this big open space. So I'm going to be focusing on that in just a minute. Alright, so I never just put one thing on a table. I usually like to split up things that I think are more on the decoration side. I like to make a little pile of plants that I might want to use and then separate them out based on which ones I think would go nicely where. I really like creating little piles of food. I think that any den with food shows that somebody lives there. And I think that that's a really nice connection to make with whoever's in your den at that time. However, if you don't want to put food, you can always do a lamp, you could do a plushie, you can do really any kind of small item. I've always found it a little bit difficult to navigate these different bars at the top here because I don't really know what fits into each one. But the decorations one does kind of focus on, I think, more on the small side. So, you know, I have my little books. These could go on a table. I have a map. If you're making some sort of archaeological or pirate's den, you can always use a map. If you really want to be bougie, you can put a gold brick or a silver brick on your table. However, it doesn't exactly fit with my humble home situation we have going here, so maybe not. You can always put a bread basket, although that is a bit much for the table, so maybe I'll actually place the bread basket elsewhere. I'm kind of interested in that. Let's see if we can make it work. You can always put a little fruit basket on a table, although I do think that that fruit basket looks a little bit janky. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the old Animal Jam animation style. Sorry to whoever animated that. It's really rather a cute little fruit basket. But in different dens, you'll see me use, more shelves. And on shelves, you can pretty much put whatever you want because it's more of a decoration kind of situation. Anyway, so if I want to use like maybe a plushie, maybe I want to put like a little fox plushie. Oh, it's really annoying. It doesn't go on the chair. Maybe I want to put a fox plushie, I don't know, next to this little rocking horse. Maybe I want to put him up on the mantle. Maybe I'll leave him there. I don't know. So anyway, that was just kind of an example of different things that you can use in your den. Some of these things I will use. Some of these things I will not use. I am going to use the lemonade just because I think it's so cute. I really am finding now that I really like this little bread basket. So now I'm trying to think of a place that I could put this without it looking kind of crazy. Unless I wanted to remove one of my two bookshelves and put it like this, which I guess I can do. So that's where that's going to stay for now. I love using my little corners. I like putting shapes that are not exactly rectangular or facing one direction in corners in order to split up this wall from this wall while still making it look like a place that somebody would live. Alright, so now that I have my little lemonade, I'm trying to think of items that I think would look really cute on this table, and what I'm coming up with is a pie. I know that Animal Jam has sold in the past different kinds of pies. One of them was in a secret shop, and the other one, I believe, is yearly, so one of them you may be able to buy currently. Make sure that if you don't know about it, Animal Jam sells a secret shop somewhere in their Epic Den. Say if I go to their water park, I have not yet checked out this den, they'll have some secret item that nobody knows about. And it looks like this time it's this little sidewalk chalk. So now I can buy this, and this item will only be sold ever in this den. So when this water park den this year goes out, this item goes out with it. And they don't advertise these things. You just kind of have to poke around until you find them. But it's always really worth it if you see an item that you really think is cute, because you'll be able to use them. Now that I have my inside kind of a little bit figured out, I think I'm going to go with maybe an apple pie because honestly, I always make my decisions in terms of aesthetic. I would go with the pumpkin pie, however, I just think that's a lot of orange. So I'm just going to go with this one, which is a little bit more brown. Maybe I'll place the apple pie closer to that chair as if they're going to dive right in. And then I'll also put, I think, a candle or something. I'm looking for non-member items though, so that does make it a little bit more difficult. That's a giant candle. We don't need him. Okay, this one's non-member, so maybe I'll place this little guy right in the middle of this table like a little centerpiece. So now you'll notice that this area is pretty crowded. This area is a little bit less crowded. So the way that I'm going to deal with that is not by placing some random item in here. Sometimes you might want to put a little table in front of your couch. The reason that I'm not going to do that is because I already have a table right here. And watch, if I put, let's say, a coffee table, let's say I use this nice little orange coffee table, if I try to place it in front of this couch, this just became so weird and crowded right here. I just moved this entire table to make this not look crowded. So I could potentially put the little coffee table in front of this chair, which might be kind of cute. However, that does totally block this door, and I'm all about functionality. So instead I'm going to find a rug, and I'll go with a rug that kind of amplifies the color scheme I already have, which is kind of orange and a little bit of green and purple. So, maybe I'll go with that. I don't want to go with this because that's another, this is a whole lot of orange in this side and a lot of red and stuff over here. So I'm just going to go with this one, which I actually think may be one of my favorite rugs. I'm just going to kind of place it like that. I never place a rug entirely under one item in a corner. I always try to create the feeling of it being functional. This is a rug that you might want to play on or that you might, sit on or read next to. And the reason that I'm putting it in this area is so that it's not too crowded right here, which is of course why it's not like right here. I want it more leading the eye this direction. So now we have a fun little den that you may want to bring your friends to. I don't particularly love this fox being on this, so I'm just gonna, sorry little dude, I'm taking him away. I'm trying to find maybe something like a plant or a flower that I might want to put on top of the mantle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna look up planter. I believe that all my planters are member, which is why I'm probably not going to use any of these. I was hoping that this was non-member, but it looks like it's member. So, you know, I have, for example, a bamboo thing. Maybe I could go with this little guy, put him up on the mantle. The one thing that does bother me about the bamboo one is that it is facing kind of straight towards you, which makes it a little bit more difficult to make it look like it's sitting on top of this. This fireplace is also really touchy about what goes in front and what goes behind. That's not terrible, but I also don't love it. I am unconvinced. Perhaps what I need to do is put a shelf. Sometimes you need to play around and then decide that you don't like it the way that you changed it, and so you want to undo it. But for now, I'm just going to try placing a little tiny shelf. You'll also notice that what I'm doing right now is being really careful about where my lamps are. I centered this one over the couch to give the impression that it is for the intention of reading on this couch. If I were to move it right here, it's off center. It makes me kind of angry to look at. So I like to place it right above. I use these little lines as examples. It's kind of in between the two of them. Then this one, I don't want it up here because I find that that makes your eyes angry as well. People love symmetry. I'm not going to put it down here because it doesn't match with the other one either. So I'm just going to try to, like, you know, line it up a little bit so that it's about on level with this one. Then once we have that, I'm just going to kind of place this shelf. But if you just have little decorations, any kind of little item that you may think would be cute, I actually would like to put some books on this shelf. Over here, I'm just going to kind of put these books in this corner, just as the idea that this is a little reading corner. And then I usually would try to find 3. I don't love having 2 items on any one surface. I like having 3, as you can tell right here. So, you know, as an artist, I can tell you that the rule of 3 is very common. You'll use triangles in your art, you'll use triangles, you use height differences. I like using 1 tall item, 1 short item, and 1 really small or medium item. So what I'll try to find is some little thing that I can put right there. If I can't find anything, that's fine. It makes it a little bit stronger, I would say, if you can have 3. I do so love Cammy's frog. Maybe I'll just kind of put him in here. You can use kind of any plushie. I will admit this is a little bit big for this shelf. So sometimes what I'll do is if I'm running out of space, the shelves are really nice if you have more than one. Unfortunately, Animal Jam did take away shelves, which means that it does make it a little bit more difficult if you don't have any shelves to create a little situation like this. However, you know, it is still possible by placing stuff on tables or maybe trying to place stuff on bookshelves. So what I've done here is that I have created a little bit of a longer shelf so that I can fit both my bamboo and my Cammy's frog on this shelf. So there we go. Look at that. I have 3 little items, and I think that they're super cute. And in fact, I'm actually going to put the shorter item in the front. The reason for that is because I don't love how the bamboo is blocking Cammy's face. So here we go. All right. Very nice. So now I'm just going to kind of take one last look. If you have any non-member floors and walls, I'm lucky enough to have both wood floors and a non-member tan carpet. If you do not have either of these things, wood floors are much harder to find. If you're a non-member and you want to be able to decorate your floors, tan carpet is pretty nice. It's easier to find. It's a little bit less expensive in the Animal Jam economy, and it's just kind of cute. They do sell something called brown tile, which is for members, and brown tile is tan carpet. And it's just member, so if you're a member and you really want this look, you can buy it. But unfortunately, non-members, you'll have to trade for it because it's out of stores. So I'm just going to leave the tan carpet in here. I think that it's kind of cute. I like that it ties together the place with the brown. I will tell you that the only non-member wall I've ever run across is this one. And I gotta tell you, I don't particularly love blue skies. I think that it kind of messes up the homey aesthetic that I'm going for right here. So I'm actually just going to leave it on the blank white wall, which is not ideal. If I were a member for this den, I would probably do bricks, or maybe I would do one of these kind of brown and red, although that one's kind of ugly. I take it back. I might go with this pink striped wall. I do love tan carpet and pink striped wall together. Maybe pink forest walls if you have those. You'd also have to trade for those. Alright, so now we're getting to the part that I think is particularly fun. And before I move to the outside, I'm just going to real quick go in here with some plants. They have this nice little plant icon for you. If you have any den betas, there are a lot of den beta plants, which I think are really nice. I like to kind of go through my entire plant listing and just kind of organize things based on what they are. So these are definitely outdoor trees. I'm going to kind of put these in a little tree pile. Then I'll go to my little hedges and I'll put these in the outdoor area but separate from the trees. I love hedges. I love spiral hedges. I love having two of any one item because I'll put them next to doors and things like that to accentuate. You can always kind of keep in mind that you don't have to use everything. And in fact, I'd recommend that you don't go overboard. I know that my main den is very cluttered, and that is intentional. The reason for that is that I like using that den as a collector's den to kind of just show the different things that I've collected over the years. And yes, I've been playing for a very long time, so it's not like, I just sort of popped up one day with all of these different things. So, in terms of non-member items, the plants are pretty good. They have a good array of non-member plants for you to use, non-member trees. If you haven't seen any of these, they do sell some plants in the Jam Mart furniture store, although it is pretty minimal in here. So instead of doing this, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go and show you, this is the main plant store. Over the years, they have sold different types of plants. So if you buy something now, it may not always be there. If I buy something now, you may go and look and it may not be there. However, they do have some fun things like this little flower pot. They also have this petunia flower bed, which is a nice way to take up some space. You can also always check out Epic Wonders for outside den items. All these ones are a little bit more expensive. Why can't I find it? There it is. Okay, I missed it. Alright, so we have our nice little wood framed couch, and I really love this outdoor item because it takes up so much space. I do find that in Animal Jam, it is difficult when you have a really small den with a really large outdoor setting to make it kind of look lived in. And by lived in, I mean, there are trees, there are plants, there are flowers, just kind of fun stuff that you would kind of see in a house if you were actually living there. So I'm going to try to look for, some of the items that I usually would use. They recently came out with all these different nice Diamond Shop garden items, unfortunately all for members. But if you have any of these, I will show you how I like to use them because I think that these are such a fun addition to any den. And I would love to use them in this den if I weren't, of course, making this member. So I do have a plot. Unfortunately, the plot is kind of unusable for non-member den unless I'm going to be placing other stuff on it, so I'm just going to kind of put it off to the side. I also am now realizing I have this little wall garden. Wall garden is another adventure reward. I think it's super fun. I love using this in different dens. My wall space is kind of tight, but maybe I could pop this in, kind of behind this A-frame. Or maybe I'll put it over here, kind of send it up to the ceiling. I don't know, I don't mind that too much, so I'm just going to kind of leave that there. So next, what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to start moving these different trees around. So I really love lining my walkways with trees. I'm just going to kind of put a hedge next to this couch for now. I'm going to get rid of this plot. I'm really feeling like without, you know what, maybe not. Maybe I can use it. I am just going to put this here for now. I'm also going to put this here. You'll notice I still have all these plants here, so those will be moving in the near future. I'm also just going to place this little hedge right there. You can't really see it right now, but I'm going to be moving some stuff around. It's okay for your den to look unfinished. That's why I have this handy dandy masterpiece that says Den in Progress, just so people don't come in like, why is Fox Love 24's den absolute chaos? Because it's not done yet, you guys. I've also made this fun little masterpiece that says welcome to my humble abode, and I really love it. However, I forgot to save it, and so I only have it on white background. And I guess, if you really want one, hit me up and, trade me something small worth 3 diamonds for one of these, I guess. But at this moment in time, I only have a white background. Doesn't really fit in this den exactly. Maybe if I had moved some things around, I could have placed it kind of cute above here. But I don't really love placing masterpieces in my dens. Personally, it's not exactly my aesthetic. So I'm just going to avoid that for now. Now this, I don't love having 3 hedges, usually because you want hedges to kind of give off the impression of something being balanced. And if I were to put 2 on this side and 1 on that side, it would not, in fact, be balanced. So I'm just gonna, for now, I'm just gonna get rid of this. And now I'm gonna take my little tiki situation over here, move it right here. Now it's looking like it's time to kind of just polish up before we finish. It is, of course, a very simple den, and I know that. It is a non-member den. It's meant to be kind of homey and fun, not necessarily the most complex den. And I can tell you that if I were using member items, just to throw out a few different things, maybe a hanging lantern I'd toss in between these 2 couches right here. Maybe I'd put a lantern on the floor. Maybe I'd put more garden items. I would definitely be putting tulips and crocus flowers in this den. I absolutely love placing tulips and crocus flowers as a last touch in any den. The little garden tomato is super fun because it's non-member, it's not that difficult to find. The other gardening set items, like the corn, pumpkin, watermelon, strawberry, those are all actually pretty difficult to find. when they first came out, not a lot of people bought them, and so there aren't that many in the game, so they're kind of worth more. If you have them, great, use them. If you don't, you can always try to invest in some of these little tomato plants. They're only 3 to 4 den betas each, I think. They might have gone up a little bit since I last checked. I'm lucky enough to have, a few years ago, spent some time collecting the different items like strawberries and stuff like that. I will admit I'm unimpressed right now. I think only the corn and the tomatoes are non-member, which means that this garden would look pretty pathetic if I were to leave it like this. Right now, I'm just kind of trying to search for some little statement piece, maybe a planter, maybe something like that, to place kind of in that corner. I love placing things in little corners. I think it just makes a den look finished. Although it's looking like maybe we're not going to find something exactly like what I'm looking for, which is fine. Maybe I'll put a bike. That could work. You know what? I am feeling like maybe a little play corner would be a fun idea. So maybe what I'll do is I'll kind of make a little pile of different items. But first, before I finish up that little corner, I'm just going to kind of go around placing little additional greenery and stuff like that in this house. It could be that from the way I've set this up, no greenery is necessary. I might put that little tiny tree right there. I don't think I'm going to have place for the larger plants like this. Usually I would put them on a shelf. I don't really like putting them on the floor or a table, but we're all out of shelf and table space. Here is an idea though. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this little palm right there. I'm going to move this to this entrance. It's a little umbrella holder. And then I'm going to just move this little chair forward. There we go. It's kind of cute. Okay, we don't need this cactus. We don't have a need for you. And I don't really have a place for this either. So it's kind of looking closer and closer to finished. I am going to pull down my little wall ivy. I've always loved wall ivy. I don't know why I only have one. But I just like putting it in little corners as a nice way to bring greenery into a room. Now that I have all that finished, I actually have decided that I'm going to change my tiki chair directions. I want you under there. I would like you over here. The reason for that being that I just thought that this area was a little bit more incomplete than the other area. Alright, now I'm going to start just moving all this stuff over here so that we can create our little sports corner. Alright, so once again I'm going to use the rule of 3. The way that this is going to work is that I'm just going to use this little tiny corner right here to create kind of the idea of people living here. So I like putting tall things in the back. I always put something tall in the back. Then I'll just kind of do like my little rule of 3 situation. Notice how I'm not going to put them all in a straight line. I don't love this. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to put one over here. It's just going to be like a scaling triangle. There's nothing, there isn't anything particularly organized about it, and that's the point. The point is that somebody just tossed their stuff over there, and that's what makes it kind of look real. Alright, so I believe that my den is just about to be finished, and I think the only thing that I might want to kind of touch up right here is this little situation, mainly because I do think it looks a little bit forced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this down. I'm going to put this tree behind. I'm going to move this down as well. And I think that this is just about done. Welcome, Jammers, to the grand tour of our new house. First, we have this lovely little seating arrangement where you can sit outside and chat with a buddy under the shade of this lovely tree. Maybe you can have a nice little conversation or a morning coffee. Next, we have our fun little tiki area where you can sit under the shade of this fun umbrella, have a nice little conversation on your patio, or maybe enjoy your morning cup of tea, or enjoy a nice delicious fruit. First in the house, we have our lovely little reading corner where you can sit on this couch and curl up with a good book. Maybe you can drink some of your delicious tea right there, or hang out on this couch and talk with some of your buddies. Next, we have this lovely little seating arrangement where you can eat some delicious pie or drink some fresh squeezed lemonade. Next, we have this nice little fire corner where you can sit, maybe ride a rocking horse, and maybe curl up in front of the fire. Next, we have our little sports area where you can enjoy playing with all of your favorite equipment. Alright everyone, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Most of the items I used are either in stores or fairly common, so if you saw something you liked, go ahead and try to find it by trading for it. Like I mentioned, every few seconds in this video, everything I used was non-member. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a great day, Jammers!